So we got late Christmas presents. Show them the late Christmas presents. Oh boy.
It's for the most minor.
What's that? Show them.
I mean the minor mistake.
A minor mistake. So hang out with us while we unbox a little bit. We're going to go through some of these parts, see what we got to do, and I'll explain a few things. Stay tuned. Alright, we got some goodies. Garbage. Where's garbage go? Toss it.
Where?
I'll
put
this down here.
I'll put it on the ground right
Oh, okay.
over here.
So we got goodies. What we ended up getting. So I decided on the front end, originally set up for a Pinto style, and it's Chris Alston. The problem with the Pinto style is, the more I look at it, it's just a little bit too one-off, and there's not too many options. So with the measurements of everything and the way I kind of checked it over, and I was doing some figuring out, my brother's Nova has the Mustang 2 front end. My car has the 39 has the Mustang 2 front end. The Mustang 2 stuff is so generic now that I decided why go with the one-off Pinto. It's similar to the Mustang 2, but it's not. So it's not really interchangeable. So I'm going to make the Mustang 2 kit that I was able to get work on this frame setup and just modify the lower mount, and we'll explain all that. So we're just going to do a little unboxing first. What we got. So
it's a box in a box in a box.
I know, it's like box inside a box. Inside a box.
And then probably in that box.
Put that over there. Put over there.
No, there's a garbage over there.
No. Just put it down right there. That's fine. Just right there. That'll be our extra box. So what we got here? I don't worry about it. What do we got here? Oh, sure.
What's in here? Can I open this?
Sure. So we got spindles. So basically I'm going with stock height because the way the frame's going to set up, yeah, it's a lower drawings. The way the frame's going to set up, we're going with stock height because I can actually adjust, and the way we're going to fab it in, I won't need to go with a 2-inch drop spindle. So it's going to work out good.
Lower control.
So just so everybody knows, this car potentially is going to be for sale. So once I get it rolling, I'm going to start advertising it as a roller. And I mean like rolling, like front end on, brakes on, which I have right there, Willwood. Cage in the car, the whole back half situated properly. Everything will be set and ready where you could either finish the car yourself, or I can continue and finish it and someone can buy it after the fact. So I'm just going with it right now. Yeah, take them out of your bag. Put them on the table. Because we're going to start fitting everything.
Fitting?
Yeah.
You say fitting.
Why not? So if you're wondering, these are Jegs. So they have a generic brand that they offer for a kit.
Where did I put this?
That's a gusset that stays with it. So the way this is set up, and I'll show you. So, one more at. So they give you a setup for original style spring and shock. We're going to modify this. I'm going to cut this out because they were cheap enough. Cut this out and use the lower bolt as a mount for the coilover because we're using traditional coilovers.
Nothing else. There's nothing else.
Wait. Was there another gusset inside that box? There had to be. Supposed to have a gusset. There was nothing in the bag?
The bag?
The bag that it came in?
No, this is the bag. There's nothing in here. No.
So that was the only
Yeah, that was
pair? Wait, hold on. Maybe is there two in here? Oh, yeah, there's two. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, we're all right. So 2 gussets, 2 grease fittings. Okay.
How do you open this? I can't open it.
Might be taped. It's taped. So currently it's Sunday, so this is what I do on my weekends. But somebody I know really likes to do this, so. What are these?
I don't know.
These are upper control arms.
Oh.
So these are just your standard Mustang 2. These are actually really nice for the price. I mean, I'm pretty impressed. Thank you.
There's no, like, things. There's none of those things.
No, these don't need those.
Oh.
These are different.
Our pile's getting big.
Pretty impressed.
Now let's open this. This is probably a drive shaft.
Hold on, I just want to let's just see on this. This should fit.
I want to see if this is a drive shaft.
Identical.
Can I use a pocket knife
We'll
thing?
make that work.
Because it's taped.
This will be nice. This is going to work good.
Can I use a pocket knife thing?
A what?
That thing. Because it's taped.
Oh, yeah. Do you know how to use it
Yeah.
properly? Always cut away from yourself. So if you're cutting, you cut down. Yep, cut away. Cut away. And then it's stapled. So I'll close that.
Oh, it's not the drive shaft.
No, this is a steering rack.
Oh, I see. Well, why is it so long?
Because it's actually short. This is the only thing I'm using from the Pinto is the steering rack, because that frame accepts a Pinto rack, not a Mustang 2 rack, because they're actually narrower. So, I believe it's a little smaller too, so I don't know, but whatever. I just decided it was better to get the Pinto instead of the Mustang 2, because the Mustang 2 I thought would be too wide based on what I measured. So this should work. A lot of people in it are going to probably wonder, because this front end set up for like a 71, 72 Pinto, and the Mustang 2 Pintos of 74 and up, I think it was, were the same. So it is different. So this whole frame is based off of that 71 to 72. So just some slight modifications, but nothing crazy. I just decided it was better to go with something that's more available than something that's not. So, I'll change it.
There we go.
Fold that up and just stuff it over there.
Fold it.
That should fit pretty good.
It's already like foldable.
Yeah, that's our box of garbage.
It's super tall.
So we also have the Wilwood brake kit. It's just a, I'm not going to unbox it right now because I don't want parts everywhere with the Wilwood. It's the drag race. I think it's a, hold on. Yeah, these are, it's the drag race kit with a basic. See? That's the 4-piston calipers. So just a standard drag race kit, lightweight. Because we don't need anything crazy. I'm not unboxing right now. I don't want parts all over. So I was looking at this. The Mustang 2 dimension from here to here is actually the same as the Pinto. So it's going to put spindle location in the same. The only thing I noticed is my mounting location. I'm going to have to open these up or change these a little bit. Because the holes are a little off based on center of this. And actually I need to get the mounting bolts for these. I forgot. I didn't order those. But I could temporarily just put some bolts through there. Let me grab a few bolts. See what I got here. I'm just going to use some just whatever bolts. I'm not, because I got to get, these have specialty bolts that go in here. I think they're like a T-bolt. But I don't think you need to use those though. I didn't think you did. Oh. Let's go into my awesome nut and bolt collection here. Which is just really, this is kind of a mess right now, so just don't pay attention to it.
It's a mess even when I'm recording it.
Stop it. So these are just temporary. Just doing some simple bolts. Just so I can temporarily bolt these on to get an idea. These are 7/16. I try to be organized, but it doesn't always work. Let's see if these will work. I don't know. I may have to change this. Yeah, see, it's going to be a little off. So I don't think these bolts are going to fit. Yeah, they're not going to fit. So that stinks. What do we do? What do we do? So for right now, I'm going to clamp these on. I'm going to use clamps, not bolts. And this is just so I can hold them in place. So it's all temporary. So that's that. Now the lower arms, these are gonna have to get modified.
How?
So the way these mount, they're actually, they are, so the original Pinto style would have been one long arm, and it has a mounting point the way that bracket's set up over there. And then it had a front strut rod that was a support rod. It's very light duty, and it's really not necessary. I like this style better, so I'm going to utilize, they give you these bushings so you can weld them. So I got a drill out the holes on the brackets on the frame, get this mounted inside the bracket, and then this gets welded to the bracket, and then the other one gets welded to the bracket with the gusset, and that gets mounted like that to the frame for support. So that's how that works. So, but for right now,
what are you doing?
I gotta take these out.
Why?
Because why are you so close? You don't have to be that close, dude. You're like right on top of this.
No, I'm not.
So let's see if this fits through now. No, see, that's made for a smaller hole opening, but we can get an idea. Watch out. Back up a little. Back up a little. You're like right on top of me, dude. So the way this is going to go. So basically this will go up right up against that bracket there, and the tube will get put through there and welded. And that's about where it's going to go. That should, unless, nope, it's got to be like this. So that should give me a really good, actually a really good caster angle. The way that's set up, that should actually work pretty good. So that'll go there. I have to change this upper bracket a little bit. We'll see. I think that's going to work good. So for right now, I'm going to throw this spindle on. I want to see.
What's a spindle?
So your spindle, your lower ball joint mounts here, your upper ball joint mounts here, and this is where your tie rod for your steering arm goes to steer the vehicle.
Oh yeah, I know.
This is your spindle setup, and this is the front.
That's the thing
where your bearings and your hub mount for your rotor,
tire thing.
for your rotor and for your lugs.
Oh.
So
What is that blue thing?
it's just a protector so it doesn't get damaged.
Oh.
Because you don't want to damage the you don't want to damage that surface. That's where the bearing rides. So a lot of time, because you got to mock stuff up and you got to figure it out. It's not that easy. So it doesn't just fall into place. Nothing is a direct fit. Nothing is simple. So just keep that in mind. It's never simple. Grab my ratchet. Make sure you're on it good. And once it's loose, you can do it by hand. There you go. Yeah, just put that on the table. So take the bolt, washers, everything out of there. May have to work that washer off. They're going to be tight right here. This one's going to be stuck. Here. So pick this up. Go ahead. Pull, yeah. Go ahead, pull the bolt out.
Oh.
Perfect.
This washer's stuck.
That's okay. It can stay there. Good job. See? Good job, Squint. All right, so we got the control arms and the spindles mocked in. I'll show you what we got to do. So as you can see, they are mocked in place, and they're kind of where they need to be. The upper I'm going to have to modify because the lower mount I like. I just have to now install. I'll show you. They gave you these nice little collars. So this would go inside that bracket like that.
How would it fit?
You need to open up the hole, you know, big enough for this. That would go on the inside. That would get welded. This one would go on the outside, and that would also get welded. And then you use the gusset from this one to the frame, and that's what gussets it. So I like that location there. The top mount is a little different, as you can see, the way it lines up, but that's not a big deal. We're going to modify the mount to accept this, and it needs to be a little bit further forward to give the proper spindle camber, because it was a little bit too extreme if I put it too far back. So, but I like the way it looks. These actually work good. So I'll show you. Watch out, Ricky. So you can see spindle height is about where I thought it would be. So if we get a tape measure, you want to go grab a tape measure up on top of my toolbox? Give you an idea. So right now the front is pretty close to ride height. So measure from the center of the spindle. No, do it the other way. From the floor. Because we're real close to ride height with the way I want the car. So what is the... Got it? What is the center of that? 12 inches?
About...
Yep.
Yeah, 12 and
Perfect.
a half. It's exactly 12 and a half.
All right, so let me ask you a question. If my tire height is 24 and a half inches, roughly, let's say 25 inches tall. What's half of 25?
Half of 25. It's an odd number. So, our teacher told us this one. Have
Well, what's half of 24?
Half of 24, 12.
12.
So that's 13.
Nope, because 13 and 13 makes what?
26.
So what would be half of 25? It'd be in between. So it'd be 12 and half.
12.
Right, 12 and a half. So our tire height is roughly a 25-inch tall tire. So if that spindle right now is at
exactly
12 inches
12 and a half
from ground to center of spindle, and right now if I put a gauge on there, the camber is pretty close. So we're pretty close to what we need. And I like the A-arm positioning right now, so that gives us plenty of room up and down. And the lower control arm, I'm sorry, the control arms, or A-arms, whatever you want to call them.
They look like an A.
Well, that's why they call them A-arms, but we'll call them control arms. So I really like the way this looks. I think it's going to work. The only thing I did notice is my steering rack, even though it's made for Pinto and it should be short, is too long. I would have to cut this back to here. So we're going to have to modify these inner tie rods, which is not a big deal. So what I'll do is I'll probably sleeve this. I'll cut this back, move these in, and sleeve it, and then weld it. I'll plug weld it. It'll be fine. It'll be strong enough. And that's it. So I can shorten those, but that should work. So let's unbox the brake kit, and we'll throw a hub on there, and that'll give us our track width, which looks really good. Because, I mean, right now the spindle's pretty far in. So that should get our tire inside this fender. So let's do it. All right, we started unboxing the for the brakes so I could get the hub. So what I did was temporarily mocked up the hub on there. So that way we get an idea of where our center point of our wheel is going to end up being. Which, if we take a tape measure, so with that, so if I go off the hub, where are we? That's giving us roughly, we'll call it 4 inches to the outside of the fender. So that actually works pretty good. So I think the track width on this is going to be perfect. That gives us plenty of room on the inside, plenty of room on the outside. So, and like I said before, we're going to go our center of hub is right around 12 inches right now, but that's going to change with, you know, when we have a little weight on the car, obviously. Right now it's unsprung. But I want to kind of keep it kind of where it is. I like it. So that's it. So we got it all mocked up. Like I said before, we're going to modify the top mounts. The bottom's not a big deal. We're going to add the spacers, weld them on the inside, weld it on the outside, gusset it, and then the lower arm will bolt right where it is, which actually works out perfect. And then I can finish weld a lot of these brackets and then get the frame set and square it in. Now that I have center of ball joint front, once I get these mounted, center here, I can string it, do an X pattern, and then get my center. So everything's moving along pretty good with minor mistake. Hopefully have this thing rolling soon. See what can happen. So thanks for tuning in. Enjoy.